What's up, Treehouse Tribe? Got you guys another championship deck list. We had another store championship at my locals, and I know it's kind of like BM to like show up and like, I guess like, people call it gatekeeping, where I was like, I already have my invite, but participating anyway. But we went. It's my locals. Like if I don't get to play, if I don't play that week, then I don't get to play. So it was kind of weird to not play, if that makes sense. So like I don't know what the fair thing there is to do, but we ended up winning, as you guys can see. Not bad, not bad. My first invite was with Alphamon, and that felt gross. Like that, to me, that deck was like the best in the format. I know people will argue one way or the other, but I think at the time, Alpha was insane. It's nerfed now, or it will be nerfed in like a week or something. But we were able to do it with my bread and butter. We got to win with Blue Hybrid, so really stoked about it, being able to win a championship with my you know, pride and joy of the Digimon card game. But let's get into it. Bandai refuses to print any other baby, so we got Fort Upamon, best baby in the game. He's being attacked by a little crab guy, and he's got his little sidekick with him. Not bad, not bad. This gets replaced in BT10, and I cannot wait for that. Oh my god, if you guys have been seeing my Future Fridays, I am gushing over Wynamon. Like, I was so mad when they announced that we weren't getting full art babies in that set. The full art Wynamon definitely needs to be here. After that, we got, you don't run anything else in this deck if you're out of your mind, if you're not running all 12 Stravimon. Stravimon's the boy, all three are good. There's never a time where I'm like, I need to cut this one or what have you. They're all good. Like, I cannot express how good each of them are. I just love it. This one, the memory gain on this one comes up so many times, and like, it has the. So let's pretend you're playing Metal Guru, and you have like an awkward hand, and you digivolve the like Gabumon X, and then draw your correct Gabumon for the Digivolution line. That always feels bad. In this deck, sometimes you digivolve this Stravi, and you're like, hey, and then you draw this one, you're like, damn, I got it in reverse. But in this deck, you can, with Koji and Magna, you could just put this under Magna and then still get the same effect. In fact, having multiple of this Stravi under that Magna Garurumon actually cracks out the deck in terms of memory control. It's so good. It's wild to me that like anyone would dream of cutting this one. This one's my favorite. It's a 4 cost. It plays around Death X. Like, so good, so good. You play all 12 Stravi in Blue Hybrids. I'm sorry, you just play all 12. And then after that, our next rookie is Bokomon. I've been back and forth on Bokomon now. Obviously, it's a good card. Search 5, get a Tamer, get a Hybrid, gain 2 memory when you Digivolve on a Tamer. It's really good, really strong card. However, free bodies on the board can lead to some bad results, like especially against things like Grandis. Can be kind of hard. It can be kind of hard against Blue Flare, right? You're trying to play around having 2 bodies on board, and a Bokomon on board is just kind of a free body. So I've been back and forth on Blue Memory Boost or Bokomon, but sometimes Bokomon just is a check, right? And that's more than what Blue Memory Boost can say. So we're on 2 Boko for now. Bodies are important. After that, we got 2 Kendo. We definitely had to alter the list. We're definitely playing more towards the freezing, the board control version. I still love this Kendo. I think this Kendo is very undervalued. Giving your Beowulf jamming, or even your Magna Garurumon if you somehow combo off that way. Just giving those cards jamming and guaranteeing they live in security is insane, because you can go Kendo, Bayo, swing with Bayo, return Kendo. Your Bayo is pretty much guaranteed to live unless you hit an option, which if you hit an option, you're dead no matter what. But then you then Digivolve Magna on top, bounce the Bayo, and now you have a stack that, you have a stack that lives on the turn pass, right? You don't have to swing with the Magna again, right? So what happens is, because if you don't have the jamming, you Digivolve Champion, Digivolve Bayo for 1, swing, and then you're like, you have those turns where you're like, maybe I shouldn't swing, just Magna Digivolve, guarantee myself to bounce like the threatening level 5, for example, and hope that play works out. But with the Kendo jamming, it kind of guarantees you that extra swing, that extra pressure, and then you can still bounce their level 5 regardless of what's in security DP wise. And I mean, if there's like a Gaia Force in there, it's one of those things you have to go through the Gaia Force eventually anyway. So 2 Kendo, I want to try to find room for a third, but right now we're definitely playing a more freeze oriented version of the deck. It's just got to be what it is. And because we're playing the freeze version, we've had to cut Lobo, and we're now on 4 of the bear. The bear is definitely not better than the wolf, but regardless of what other YouTube animal-like YouTubers will like have you believe, but in this instance, it does synergize with a lot of our option cards, a lot of what we're trying to do in the deck, so we're on 4 bear instead of 4 Lobo. And the 5k, I think in this meta hasn't really mattered as much as it did back in like BT8, where like swinging over a X-Digimon was really valuable. Swinging over a lot of 4ks in certain formats kind of was valuable, but this time around, not so much. A lot of people are swinging at your security, or their 5k, or they're not 5k. They're either too big, they're sitting on level 5, so the 1 DP just isn't mattering anymore. After that, we're on 4 Korikaku. We're definitely, as I said, we're moving towards the freeze version of Blue Hybrid for this format, this meta. There's a lot of low source cards out there, right? Against Blue Flare, their Metal Greymon has at best 2-3 sources, so it's very easy to strip that and start freezing the hell out of them. Again, that's why we're playing the Kuma, because that one source changes the game, right? And it just limits them so much. And then after that, we are on pretty standard list in my opinion. 4 of the Beowulf. Oh yeah, I guess we're technically not max rarity anymore because those event pack Kumamons and Korikakumons came out. But those are really expensive, man. Like holy, I can't afford that kind of cardboard yet. But I definitely want to get there. This is definitely the deck I love max rarity anytime I get. But we're on 4 Beowulf. There's card cycling, keeping hybrids in your hand, bouncing level 4s and level 3s all day. It's just relevant against Jesmon, if they're not playing the Genkumon GX combo. Being able to bounce the 1 CL, giving them all blocker, invaluable. And then bouncing Gaussmons and security, or in Blue Flare, bouncing this and that, bouncing X5s. I guess not with Bayo, but bouncing an X4 for some reason they chose not to. If they chose to hard Digivolve at some point and losing all those sources, invaluable again. After that, we're on our level 6 for Magna Garurumon. I love this card. This card does so much. Comboed with Koji, there's so many plays you're able to do in situations where most decks can't play around. Being able to have Koji and 5 cards in hand, and then being able to Digivolve into this guy just facilitates so much. It goes without saying, right? Blue Hybrid is Blue Hybrid, and I play the top end of Blue Hybrid without fail. Now we're on our options. 1 Ice Wall, it's gonna save you games. At worst, it sits in your hand and it never comes up. And at best, it saves you the game, right? After that, as I said, we're on a more freeze-oriented version of Blue Hybrid, so we're on 3 Blue Howling Memory Boosts. This card was cracked in BT6 Double Diamond. It's been cracked ever since. I've been telling people that forever. When I was playing Bond, I was always on 3 of this. This thing is just I feel like never got the credit it deserved back in Bond format or in I guess people woke up in BT7, but I don't know. I still think the card is insane. After that, we are on 3 Innocence Blizzard, another card I have to kind of upgrade, get the pre-release versions of, because this card is nuts. And then EX03, we get another card like this that is, I don't know if it's equally as insane or better. It's still, the jury's out, but I think it's like Surai or something. Both cards are good. I definitely am playing a mix of both, or at least Consider it both at any time. This card is insane. This card saves you games. Strip one of everything and then freeze 3 things. It's too good. It's very undervalued. I almost argue like dropping a memory boost to play the 4 of. I don't know, but we need the extra memory. The extra memory manipulation with memory boost is pretty strong as well. And then after that, it's not blue hybrid without tamers. For the first time in a while, we had to make cuts to fit in Innocence Blizzard, and we had to cut a Davis. So we're only playing 3 Davis. Still the best green tamer in the game. Still one of the best blue tamers in the game. I love the new alt art. Seeing it in person, just too good. That shatter foil it has. Goat is the goat, and being set to 3 is never bad. After that, we got our inheritable tamers. We got 1 Tommy because the ban list says so, and then 4 Koji. You're out of your mind if you're not playing Koji, especially nowadays. Koji, I need to remind people, he makes your Digimon unblockable. If you proc the 1 memory effect, that Digimon is also now unblockable. It has won me games against Jessmon. It has won me games against Jessmon's the only really one with blocker now. No, Shoutmon, it won me a game against Shoutmon, it won me a game against I think Blue Flare has blocker on one of their level 5s. Either way, unblockable, busted, and it's a comeback card. I think people forget that, like, yeah, playing him kind of sucks, like he doesn't have an on-play effect, but just being able to have a Koji on board and then say, okay, now I have a level 6, and it's going to swing twice, and it's going to bounce your 5, or bounce your 6, depending on how your hand has worked out. It's just a very underestimated card, and Tommy's just good. It's banned for a reason. After that, closing out the deck, we got 4 Sword Joe, playing the freeze version of the deck. This card comes up. This card will extend plays beyond belief against a lot of cards. Having this and a Davis out, putting you to 5 at worst is insane. And then if you have more out, you're going to 7, you're going to 9. Having that much memory really does matter in blue hybrid. Memory manipulation is definitely an underrated value a deck can bring. And I mean, purple does it, and we call it loop decks. But if blue hybrid has a lot of memory, if any deck has a lot of memory and has the cards to do it, you can pull off a lot. And I feel like blue hybrid is one of the decks that can pull off a lot with a lot of memory. Yeah, that's the deck. The things I would change, I still struggle with champions, the champion count. I think about having more in there. I want 1 or 2 more, maybe 1 more Kendo. I don't know where I would cut to make the space because I'm on 10 champions. I like being at 11, so that does feel gross. After that, yeah, Sorai is going to be moved in after EXO 3. The tamer counts can play, maybe only 3 Koji, and then we go up a Davis. But otherwise, I'm really happy. Like I said, it got me my championship. Let me give you a rundown of my matchups. Round 1 was against Jessmon. Again, the unblockable state makes it so if they set up a board with a lot of blockers, right at the end, you can still close out the game with a double swing Magna Gururu, and they play no sources, so our freeze style deck, right, they're not playing a lot of sources, so our freeze style, they're just proccing Sword Joe all day for us, giving us memory infinitely. Round 2 was against Dark Knightmon. That deck's kind of scary, but if you can set up your tamers and get like your engine running early enough, which is pretty easy, it's not the hardest thing to do in blue hybrid, to get like a tamer, 1 or 2 tamers, and then like your body's recycling your cards back to your hand. I think you have an easy time against Dark Knightmon. You bounce them if you're at Magna, which lets them, they lose their sources and then they can't proc their own deletion effects. And then on top of that, again, it's another deck where they have a low source count, so just 1 Sora Joe, 1 Tommy, and they're stripped and they're infinitely a battery for the rest of the game. It's another matchup where Innocence Blizzard just strip 1 of everything and then freeze 3 things, and they can't block or attack, and you just kind of go in. And again, another match. That's another Dark Knightmon has a lot of blockers, but Magna Gururu with a Koji, just swing twice, unblockable. And the deed is done, right? Round 3 was against Green Grandis Kabuterimon. I was just faster. He I think that went to game 3, but I was just faster. No, it was a 2-0, but I was just faster. He probably had a slow hand. I definitely think it's a hard matchup for this deck. It's actually one of the first times I beat Grandis in tournament as blue hybrid, but that deck's scary. There's not much you can do. The Innocence Blizzard is definitely something that like helps in that format in matchup because they don't really play the X Antibody card. But yeah, if they don't actually, if now with this build, if they don't come out and OTK you, you're good. You can kind of like make a comeback and like survive a turn or two because they strip themselves, right, because of the Digiburst. So if they do something weird like Digiburst all the way into Grandis and then you hit an Innocence Blizzard, game over, man. Like they get the rest of the checks, but they can't finish the game, and then you just kind of, you know, blue hybrid freeze shenanigans for the rest of the game to win, which is kind of what happened, I think. And then round 4, it was only a 4-round tournament. We do things weird. It was a big night. It was like 20-something people, more than 20-something people, if anything. Almost 30, probably beyond 30 people, but it was only 4 rounds because of how we kind of do things at the shop. And then my last round was against Blue Flare, and Blue Flare definitely took me to game 3. The only decks to take me to game 3 were Dark Nightmon and Blue Flare. Blue Flare is definitely a tough card to play around. Like again, the Pokemon, you're trying to keep yourself on at only 1 Digimon, but with the Decker Greymon, they can still freeze your 1 stack that you're trying to maintain, and it gets hard. But you can also like outgrind them almost sometimes, depending on how things work out, because like you can just straight up get rid of their champions, and if they don't have sources or enough draw, like they just kind of run out of gas, right? Because they need to see male Birdramon and they need to see Greymon to do the rush play, and if you slowly whittle them down by bouncing their stuff, their sources go to grave, and they can't really recur those. They can recur the metal, but they can't recur the other 2, which really hurts them in terms of like a long game right now. And that's kind of how that's kind of where I took most of my advantage. So with that said, let's just open this pack. See what you got. I mean, this pack wasn't really that crazy. It's got the Nemon in there. I like the Nemon, but let's get a nice close-up. Nice little crown, says champion on it. Kind of hype. I know people want the Guillemon. The Guillemon's kind of hype. Cordramon, I'm sure that's another relevant card in here that we're going to see a lot more of in, what's it called? EX3, Draconic Roar, Cordramon, Exiomon. That deck is wild. Wizardmon, I feel like this is a sleeper card. It's a good card. It just needs the right deck to play around it or like take advantage of it. We do not like this card. Next, we don't like this card. Next, Icemon, busted. Still, every purple deck still running it. So if you're trying to max rarity, here you are. And then Nemon, I love Nemon. I still like this card. It just for some reason feels too slow, or we don't have enough inheritable tamers. Definitely if we in BT12, or is it 11? I think BT11, where we get the new red hybrid support. This card is really, there's a lot to say about this card. It has a lot of value because you could play the new Takuya that's a memory setter. So if we ever get a Koji that's a memory setter, being able to play this one and then play Koji, memory setter Koji kind of gives you a lot of tempo that your opponent necessarily wasn't expecting. And then being able to recycle tamers from grave. Any tamer from grave is relevant. The problem is, it's just hard to justify a body on board. Because this guy, like, you have to keep him on board for him to do anything, and it's hard to justify that in this meta. Or like nowadays, you're just kind of like, you want to play your rookie, get its instant value, and then the next turn swing with it just to get the chip damage. And yeah, that's where I feel we are. That's it. I'm stoked. I'm stoked to be able to say that I got a championship with invite with you know my deck, right? Like I definitely I can play any deck, right? Like I wanted my invite, so I was like, hey, I'm gonna take Alphamon, and I got it. I played the best, air quotes, best deck in the format, and got my invite. But now, like, being able to do it with, you know, a deck I actually love and practice and like have payoff for. It just felt really good, so I'm happy about it. Like, share, subscribe. See you guys next time. Keep watching, keep subscribing. I appreciate you guys. Definitely, the channel's growing faster than I ever thought it would. So I've been enjoying it. So see you guys next time.